A 7.8 magnitude earthquake kills over 3,000 in Turkey and Syria. Chinese balloons flew over the US 3 times under Trump. Americans turn to credit cards to cope with high inflation. Israeli government approves new Jewish settlement near Gaza. Indian pharma firm halts production of eyedrops after alert. Islamophobia as big as an issue as racism, says Jemima Khan. From Toronto studios, this is the Muslim News on Muslim Network TV. Assalamu alaikum, I'm Saamiyah Syed. Our top story tonight, a 7.8 magnitude earthquake killed more than 3,000 people and injured thousands more Monday in southeast Turkey and northern Syria. Tremors were felt as far away as Greenland, the Geological Survey of Denmark and Greenland said. Turkey's Vice President Fuat Oktay said authorities are struggling with extremely severe weather conditions in addition to the devastation as cold grips the region. Trapped victims cry for help on social media. Posting locations and images online has helped locate and rescue several Turkish victims. Twitter has become a place to mobilize support. Turkish people are flocking to blood donation centers to save lives. And Muslims are performing funeral prayers in absentia at Al-Aqsa for earthquake victims. Joining us from Syria is journalist Bilal Abdul Kareem. Thank you so much for being here today, Bilal. Tell us about the current situation of rescue and relief operations. What's the status?
Thank you for having me. It is good to be on your network. As everybody knows by now, there was a 7.7 level earthquake on the Richter scale, wherein the epicenter was in Gaziantep, that's in southern Turkey. It affected southern Turkey and northern Syria for the most part. Official numbers coming out of Turkey are 1,600 dead, more than 100,000 injured. In northern Syria, which is a war zone, the numbers are much more difficult to come by. The problem here is that there are no real official estimates. Unfortunately, the Syrian people are accustomed that once their loved ones have been killed, whether it be by airstrike or by earthquake, they simply bury their dead and they go unrecorded. So, numbers are varying greatly. So it's no real reason for me to repeat them because they're just not accurate right now. They might be coming later on to be accurate, but not at the current time. There are numerous aftershocks which are continuing to take place even up until now. We've got situations wherein the aftershocks were coming every 15 to 20 minutes sometimes. This evening around 7:30, I felt 2 aftershocks within a 15-minute time frame. So we're hoping that the aftershocks will get less and then things will start to die down. I am currently in a shelter when I have lots of other people who are around me. Some of them are sleeping. You might even hear some of them snoring. I'm sorry, it's the best I can do right now. But people are afraid. In the streets, you have people who have cars. The families are sleeping in their cars because they're afraid to be in their homes. It wasn't fun being woken up at 4 a.m., 4:28 a.m. actually, in the morning, and your house is violently shaking. And that's pretty much what the situation was, and that's what was my situation. And I was forced to run into the streets, basically with no shoes on, trying to get people out of the homes. So that's our situation. That's the situation here right now. I apologize for any background noise, but it's been a very, very long day for all of us. And people are just trying to get a few hours of sleep.
Thank you so much for joining us. Former U.S. Vice President Mike Pence voiced support for Social Security privatization. The possible 2024 presidential candidate backed a scheme that the administration of former President George W. Bush unsuccessfully pushed nearly 2 decades ago. At a closed-door event on Thursday hosted by the National Association of Wholesale Distributors, Pence said he believes the day could come when we can replace the New Deal with a better deal. Pence suggested that Americans could take a portion of their Social Security withholdings and put it into a private savings account. Experts have rejected the notion that private investment accounts would be more beneficial than Social Security's guaranteed benefits. Experts have also said that private saving accounts would not, as Pence put it, save the government money. A U.S. physician condemned the country's for-profit healthcare system and the complicity in campaigns against universal coverage. In a New York Times op-ed on Sunday, Eric Reinhardt said American physicians suffer from demoralization due to the disease systems for which we work. The Northwestern University doctor wrote the United States is the only large, high-income nation that doesn't provide universal health care to its citizens. He added for decades, at least tens of thousands of preventable deaths have been occurred each year because healthcare here is so expensive. He said the coronavirus pandemic accelerated that trend, highlighting dysfunction in the nation's healthcare system. A study published in the Proceedings of the National Academy of Sciences suggests a universal single-payer system could have prevented more than 338,000 COVID-19 deaths in the U.S. Balloons similar to the one shot down this weekend off the coast of South Carolina flew over the U.S. at least 3 times during the Trump administration. That's according to a senior U.S. defense official. He spoke during a briefing on Saturday, the same day President Joe Biden authorized the missile strike that shot down the balloon. Republican lawmakers have argued that the response should have come sooner. But military officials warned the president the best time to take down the balloon was when it was over water. The defense official revealed the U.S. was aware of 3 other similar instances with Chinese balloons during the prior administration of ex-President Donald Trump. There was also one earlier in the Biden administration. Trump denied that Chinese balloons flew over the U.S. during his administration. Leonard Raheem Taylor is scheduled for execution on Tuesday. Cameras recorded Taylor passing through security at St. Louis Lambert International Airport on November 26, 2004. Taylor carried 2 black bags as he made his way to Gate 16 to catch the Southwest Airlines flight departing at 8:10 for Ontario, California. The state of Missouri claims the trip was evidence that Taylor was fleeing St. Louis after murdering his 28-year-old girlfriend, Angela Rowe, and her 3 young children. Taylor claims the trip was for business and that he was planning to meet his 13-year-old daughter, Deja, for the first time. Taylor was tried on 4 counts of first-degree murder and sentenced to death. He has maintained his innocence, arguing police fixated on him as a suspect and ignored a compelling alibi. Missouri is scheduled to execute Taylor on Tuesday. All of Taylor's appeals have been denied. Americans are turning to credit cards to cope with inflation. Comes with details after the break. So stay tuned and we will be right back. Welcome back. Americans are turning to credit cards more frequently to cope with high inflation, according to a U.S. Consumer Credit Reporting Agency. TransUnion says total credit card balances reached $930 billion in the latest quarter of 2022, rising from $785 billion in the same period of 2021. The number of credit cards reached 518.4 million at the end of 2022, rising from 485.9 million the year before, the report says. The average debt per borrower rose about $700 during the same period. Michelle Rainery, TransUnion's Vice President of U.S. Research and Consulting, said consumers continue to be affected by high inflation and interest rate hikes. She said she expects consumers to continue to look to credit products such as credit cards, HELOCs, and unsecured personnel loans to make ends meet. Authorities in India's southern state of Tamil Nadu have asked a pharmaceutical firm to halt manufacturing ophthalmic products after a health scare. U.S. health officials issued an alert regarding possible contamination of eye drops with adverse events in patients. The Chennai-based Global Pharma Healthcare voluntarily recalled artificial tears lubricant eye drops, saying it is notifying U.S. distributors about the product. All artificial tears lubricant eye drops lots within expiry distributed by Esricare LLC and Delsum Pharma were pulled due to possible contamination. On Sunday, Tamil Nadu's top drug official told Anadolu Agency instructions have been issued to halt the production and further investigations are underway. Vijayalakshmi PV, drug controller of Tamil Nadu, said an inspection was also carried out at the firm and samples were taken. Officials said the drug in question was exclusively meant for the United States and not available in India. Islamophobic graffiti and murals painted in Chapelina in Bosnia and Herzegovina triggered a backlash on Saturday. This was written on the Franjo Tuđman Bridge, and I quote, "We will slaughter Muslim women and children." There was also a quote saying, "Kill Balia." Balia is an expression used to insult Bosnian Muslims. The area's population has a concentration of Croats. City administration spokesperson Daniela Nogolika urged residents to be responsible to themselves and others. She added that the city government condemned the action and the graffiti was painted over. Chapelina police said an investigation was launched to find and punish the perpetrators. Vandals attacked a mosque last month in northeastern Bosnia-Herzegovina, sparking backlash and widespread criticism. The unknown culprits urinated on the walls of the Danica Mosque in Bijeljina, the Islamic Union Assembly said. The Israeli government on Sunday approved the construction of a new Jewish settlement near the border with the Gaza Strip. Under international law, all Jewish settlements in the occupied Palestinian territories are illegal. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said the establishment of the Hanan community was decided by the previous government. Construction and Housing Minister Yitzhak Goldknopf said the new settlement will house nearly 500 families. There are more than 50 Jewish settlements around the Gaza Strip, with at least 55,000 settlers living there, according to Israeli figures from 2019. Israeli and Palestinian estimates show there are about 650,000 settlers living in 164 settlements and 116 outposts in the West Bank. Human chains, rallies, and protests were held across Pakistan on Sunday to show solidarity with the pro-independence movement in Jammu and Kashmir. The national holiday began with special prayers in mosques for the liberation of Kashmir. A minute's silence was observed nationwide at 10 a.m. local time. Thousands of people formed human chains on roads connecting the capital Islamabad to Pakistan-administered Kashmir. A ceremony was held near the Parliament House in Islamabad, attended by lawmakers and a large number of students. Another rally from the Foreign Ministry was attended by diplomats, students, and civil society members. Rallies, conferences, and seminars were also held in all 4 of the country's provincial capitals, as well as big cities and remote towns. Protesters castigated human rights violations in Jammu and Kashmir. Jewish and Christian communities in Turkey joined a global chorus condemning the desecration of the Quran in Sweden last month. Lena Posner-Kurosi, head of the Council of Swedish Jewish Communities, said this scene brings to mind the Nazis. She was referring to far-right politician Rasmus Paludan's torching of a copy of the Quran in front of a Turkish embassy in Stockholm last month. Paludan threatened to do it again every Friday until Sweden was allowed into NATO. Turkey is currently holding up Sweden's bid to enter the transatlantic alliance because of the Quran burning incidents. Paludan burned another copy of the Quran the week after the incident in Stockholm near a mosque in Denmark. Ishak Haliva, chief rabbi of Turkey, denounced the incident. He stressed the significance of having respect for the faith of others. The rabbi described Paludan's demonstration as a hate crime and an act of religious terrorism. Yusuf Chetin, spiritual leader of the Virgin Mary Syriac Orthodox Church in Istanbul, also expressed his strong condemnation on behalf of himself and his congregation. He said permitting such acts is not acceptable under either democracy or freedom. UK screenwriter Jemima told Sky News that Islamophobia is every bit as big as an issue as racism. She was speaking ahead of the release of her new film, What's Love Got to Do with It? Khan is the ex-wife of former Pakistani cricketer and Prime Minister Imran Khan. She spoke about how the rom-com was inspired by her own life. The film explores Islamophobia as well as the pros and cons of both styles of dating and arranged marriages. She said, it's hard to make a film where Muslims are the good guys in America, where they're much more familiar with Muslims playing the baddies. Islamophobia, I think, is a real issue. I think it's every bit as big an issue as racism. Khan also shared that her sons from her marriage with Imran Khan, Suleiman and Qasim, often face extra questioning when they travel, especially to the US. She attributed this to their names and said they are questioned in a way that she is not. On arranged marriages, Khan said they are a cross-cultural phenomenon, discussing the high-profile marriage of Princess Diana to then Prince Charles. That used to be the norm even in the UK not long ago, she says. Khan added that she saw very successful and happy arranged marriages, but noticed they fail to be represented in mass media. What's Love Got to Do with It releases on February 24th in the UK. Coming up after the break is our in-depth analysis segment, so stay tuned and we will be right back. Welcome back. To discuss the devastation of the earthquakes in Turkey and Syria, let's go to Imam Abdul Malik Mujahid. Over to you, Imam Mujahid.
Thank you, Saamiyah. More than 3,000 people are killed in this devastating earthquake in Turkey and Syria. And numbers at this moment are still coming in, 13,500 injured. And it's bound to rise because there are many areas, and Syria has already been devastated because of war, and buildings were hardly there, and people were in a difficult situation. And this is the area where on both sides of the Turkish border, there are a lot of Syrian refugees. It's a Kurdish area. And we know it is Turkey is more organized as a government and all that, but Syria is not. So to discuss that situation, we have Halil Demir with us. Assalamu alaikum. Welcome to Muslim Network TV.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullah. Thank you for inviting me.
Halil Demir is the leader of Zakat Foundation and is from the area in Turkey where earthquake has taken place. Brother Halil, how is your family and relatives and staff in that area? Are they safe?
Thank you for asking. I have only distant relatives that their building collapsed. So 2 families are still under this building, so that we are not aware of their well-being.
What are you hearing from people there?
It is not only that earthquake, unfortunately, also a cold winter that's snowing and has been snowing since today morning. That is also a very serious challenge, and also a challenge that in fact we have as you know, refugees already. One of the largest refugee center is the city of Urfa and city of Gaziantep. So refugees in their new homes, almost facing the same situation as they came first time to Turkey, become a refugee. So it's very serious challenges.
Are there enough help available to rescue people who might still be buried under the rubble?
Good things is that Turkish government is really heavily involved. All entities of government, including interior minister, and the AFAD, that is the FEMA of Turkey, and Red Crescent and other organization entities of government are there. They're doing their best. But when you look at these magnitude of the earthquake and 6 provinces geographically and also the population wise, when we say 6 provinces, 6 is number small, but we're talking about the millions of people actually. So it's a very, very serious challenges.
Do you think that casualty numbers are going to go rise further?
It's possible because, as you know, the inner state in 1999, Turkish government after the earthquake in Bursa, closer to Istanbul, Turkish government has implemented very diligently the new building code. Thanks to God that we have these new, thanks to Allah, we have these new building codes. Have not these code changed? The yesterday's earthquake or today morning's earthquake with the Turkish time could be a very devastating effect. The number of death casualties will be much higher. So it seemed to me the buildings, most of them held to the construction, did not collapse, but all cities, most of the buildings has collapsed. And taking from going from this point, you can say that because it's old city, because it's a rescue is very difficult. I will assume that the number will go higher.
Turkey has asked NATO for help. So it says that there are things which they feel more help is needed than the Turkish services itself. But while Turkey is more organized country, who is going to help Syria? I mean, NATO and all these people cannot go there. How will be the situation for helping Syria, which has already been devastated by bombing of the Syrian government to that area where earthquake has taken place?
And you are right. It's unfortunate that Syria has a much more serious challenge than Turkey. Obviously, the magnitude impact on Turkey is much larger than Syria. But I'm hoping that international organization and also Arab world and their Red Crescent will rush to help Turkey. I'm sorry, help Syria. And I think recently the Security Council has issued, with the help of United States and Ireland, that cases as such will not require a special permit to support population, even when the country is under scrutiny. So I'm hoping that some organization maybe rush and get, use these new regulations and enter Syria and help the Syrian population inside Syria, especially the areas that's not closer to Turkish border.
You mentioned to me before the program that you are planning to visit there. Are you planning to develop some type of help situation, or you're going just to take care of your family in case they need help?
No, we Zakat Foundation has been in in that region for almost 15 years. And we have one of the large office in Gaziantep, and our office is damaged as well. And one of my colleague, lost two of family member. So I'm going professionally, and if I have time, I might be able to visit my family. But I'm going in behalf of Zakat Foundation. My colleagues are on the ground, and join them. We have decided, the executive team, that to make it easy and making the executive decision faster, strengthen our operation as well as our response. It's better if I'm there and lead our team concerning this effort.
So has Zakat Foundation, which is based in Chicago, a charity run by Muslims, Have they already launched an appeal for this purpose?
Yes, we did. Zakat Foundation website is there, and also we send out email. And we are hoping that Chicagoans are very generous people. American people is very generous people. My experience, I have experience during tsunami. I have experience during the Haiti earthquake, and I have experience during Katrina and the Harvey in Houston. I think our nation will respond to our call and extend their hand to people of Turkiye. Most of people in the city knows people of Turkey has really welcomed refugees. Millions of Syrian refugees and others are welcomed in Turkey. And I'm hoping that today, when Turkey needs us, Chicago and my brothers and sisters in Chicago and in the United States will extend their hand, open their heart for people of Turkey, and help us to become a bridge between our nation and people of Turkey.
Well, thank you so much, Halil Demir, for your time, and have safe journey. And I hope your team will remain safe and secure. And our sympathies and prayer for those people who you knew who have passed away, and the rest of the people in this tragedy. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, and God bless you. Please go to zakat.org and support our effort.
Back to you, Saamiyah.
Thank you so much. That's all from our Toronto studios tonight. Thank you for tuning in. You can find previous episodes and more on our YouTube or Facebook. For more content, keep watching Muslim Network TV or visit muslimnetwork.tv. Assalamu alaikum and good night.